When we think of heroes in these big fantasy worlds, our minds usually jump to incredible strength or some legendary sword, maybe even crazy explosive magic. But what if the greatest weapon wasn't a spell or a blade at all, but a mind that's been sharpened by pure hardship? Today, that's what we're diving into. The story of a character who survives not with overwhelming power, but with a sharp intellect against odds that are, well, pretty much impossible. This one line, it tells you everything you need to know. Our protagonist, Sunny, he isn't born into greatness. He starts at absolute rock bottom, a slum rat who literally expects nothing from life. And that's not just some backstory, you guys. It's the core of who he is. It shapes every single decision he's going to make. And here's the real kicker. For someone who already has nothing, what happens when things get even worse? When the universe basically hands him a challenge that is, for all intents and purposes, a death sentence. Well, that's when his real weapon comes out to play, his mind. Okay, so to really get how Sunny's mind works, we have to understand the world that built it. A world where the odds were just completely stacked against him long before any magic or monsters ever showed up. I mean, just look at this. The inequality is staggering. It's not just about money. We're talking about basic food. Sunny grew up eating cheap, synthetic mush, while the rich and powerful had actual plant-based meals. This constant fight for the bare minimum taught him to be resourceful, super pragmatic, and to never, ever take anything for granted. And then, the nightmare spell shows up. It's this magical plague that literally pulls you into a realm filled with monsters. But look at that definition. It's not some great equalizer. Oh no. For the rich, who have training and resources, it's a chance to get even more powerful. But for someone like Sunny, it's just a faster way to die. Just another system that's rigged against him from the start. And if being poor wasn't enough, there's this deep isolation. He's a born outcast, he just can't connect with people. And this, well, it forced him to become hyper-observant, a master problem solver. I mean, when you have absolutely no one else to rely on, you learn to see things other people miss. You find solutions no one else would even think of. All right, so let's see how all these survival skills actually play out when he gets thrown into his very first nightmare. Because spoiler alert, it's not muscle or magic that saves him. It's his cold, hard logic. So picture this. Sunny and a handful of other survivors are at the bottom of this huge, icy mountain. They're exhausted, they've got barely any supplies, and their only way out is up. It is a pure test of endurance where every single calorie, every ounce of energy matters. Now this, right here, is a masterclass in pragmatic thinking. The other survivors, they're instinctively clinging to their swords, right? It makes them feel safe. But Sunny, he thinks differently. He looks at the real goal, survive the climb. He sees the real problem. This heavy sword is going to drain his energy way too fast, so he makes the smart choice. He ditches it. He sacrifices the feeling of safety for the cold, hard reality of what it'll actually take to survive. So he makes it through, and with survival comes power. But hey, this is Sunny's life, so of course the world doesn't just hand him an easy win. The power he gets comes with a seemingly fatal flaw, which, you guessed it, he has to outsmart rather than just overpower. And here it is, he literally cannot lie. Think about that. In a world jam-packed with scheming rivals and deadly secrets, this is a massive, massive handicap. One direct question could reveal his weaknesses, his plans. It could get him killed in an instant. It's the ultimate mental puzzle. How do you survive in a world of liars when you're physically incapable of lying? Just let that sink in for a second. No deception. No little white lies. No trying to misdirect people. Just the absolute, unfiltered truth every single time. It seems totally hopeless, right? But this is where the genius comes in. He can't lie, but he figures out he can control how the truth is presented. He finds the loophole. He learns to use super precise wording, clever phrasing, to tell the truth in a way that actually misleads or confuses people. He literally weaponizes the truth. He turns this magical curse that was designed to be his biggest weakness into his most subtle and powerful tool for psychological warfare. And what's so compelling about Sunny's intellect is that it's always evolving. There's this pivotal moment where he's forced to unlearn the very instincts that kept him alive in the slums for so many years. So his mentor, Master Chet, hits him with this seemingly simple question. Now, the obvious answers would be, some big monster or a specific enemy. But the question is designed to make Sunny think bigger, to analyze the whole situation from a higher level. And his answer? The cold. This is a huge intellectual leap. He stops thinking like a street fighter who's just reacting to whatever's in front of him, and he starts thinking like a general, analyzing the entire battlefield, identifying the fundamental conditions that lead to victory or defeat. And this is the crucial part, his self-awareness. He recognizes that his old street rat habits, the things that kept him alive before, are now actually holding him back. And he calls it what it is, lazy thinking. See, true intelligence isn't just about being right. It's about recognizing when your own methods are wrong and having the guts to change them. This leads to another massive breakthrough. His own cold, hard logic forces him to abandon his lifelong loner mentality. He realizes on an intellectual level that true strength isn't being alone. It's about strategic cooperation. It's an absolute game changer for him. So all of these experiences, the hardship, the trials, the constant mental battles, they all build up and culminate in one final transformation. His mind doesn't just get sharper, it literally becomes a weapon in its own right. After a really traumatic event, he achieves this mental state he calls clarity. And look at that description: stark, streamlined, and dauntless. It's a state of mind where he can process information at an incredible speed, without fear or emotion clouding his judgment. Suddenly, chaos becomes predictable. Terrifying monsters just become surmountable problems that need to be solved. His mind literally becomes a supercomputer. This quote just perfectly sums up his entire journey. Sonny doesn't believe he's lucky. He believes that luck is something you create. For the slum rat who never expected anything good from life, this is the ultimate statement, isn't it? He doesn't wait for fate to be kind. He forges his own fate with his mind. And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. In a world that's so often defined by brute force and overwhelming power, Sonny's story makes a really powerful case for the underdog. It suggests that maybe, just maybe, the ability to think, to adapt, and to learn is the ultimate trump card.